Hi, you're watching 13th Whisper. The line between truth and terror is thinner than you think, and today we're going to cross it. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and share it with your friends. Some stories don't like being told. Let's begin. The mirror in the attic. Some objects hold more than just memories. They hold secrets, shadows, things that should stay buried. This is the story of a mirror, an old house in the suburbs of Ohio, and a group of friends who looked too long into the glass. They thought they were chasing a good story for their paranormal channel. Instead, they found something that chased them back. Let's dive into the nightmare of the attic mirror. It all started with an email, one of hundreds that flood the inbox of Paranormal Pulse, a small YouTube channel run by 4 friends, Lydia, Carter, Noah, and Elise. They specialize in investigating haunted places, armed with cameras, EMF readers, and a healthy dose of skepticism. Most of their videos are lighthearted, creaky houses, flickering lights, the occasional orb that's probably just dust. But this email stood out. It came from a guy named Daniel, a subscriber who claimed his late grandmother's house, in a quiet suburb of Dayton, Ohio, was haunted. "It's the mirror on the attic," he wrote. "It shows things that aren't there. I saw her in it once and I can't go back. Please, check it out for me." Attached was a blurry photo of an old, ornate mirror, its frame carved with intricate patterns, the glass smudged with age. Lydia, the group's leader, read the email aloud during their weekly planning session, her voice tinged with excitement. "This could be big, guys. A haunted mirror? That's new for us." Carter, the tech guy with a knack for fixing anything, grinned as he adjusted his glasses. "Sounds like a gimmick, but I'm in. Let's see if it's worth the hype." Noah, the skeptic who always carried a notebook to debunk phenomena, shrugged. "Probably just a trick of the light, but I'll bite. Could be fun." Elise, the quiet one who handled the editing, bit her lip, her fingers tapping nervously on the table. "I don't know. Something about that photo gives me the creeps. But if you guys are in, I'm in." 2 days later, they're pulling up to the house in Daniel's grandmother's neighborhood, a sleepy street lined with modest homes, the kind where kids ride bikes and neighbors wave from porches. But this house stands out. It's a 2-story Victorian, its paint peeling like dead skin, the windows dark and uninviting, the lawn overgrown with weeds that sway in the late September breeze. The air smells of damp leaves and something sour, something that lingers in the back of your throat. Lydia steps out of the van first, her camera already rolling, as she narrates. "Hey, Pulse fam. We're here at the house of Daniel's grandmother in Dayton, Ohio. This place has been empty since her passing 2 years ago. And according to Daniel, there's a mirror in the attic that shows more than just your reflection. Let's go find out what's waiting for us." Carter grabs the gear bag, slinging it over his shoulder, while Noah checks his EMF reader, muttering about baseline readings. Elise trails behind, her eyes darting to the upper windows, where she swears she saw a curtain twitch, though no one's lived here in years. The front door creaks open with a groan, the lock sticky from disuse, and they step inside. The air is stale, thick with the scent of mildew and old wood. The living room is frozen in time. A floral couch sags under a layer of dust. A rotary phone sits on a side table, and faded family photos line the walls, smiling faces that feel out of place in the gloom. Carter swings his flashlight around, the beam catching cobwebs that stretch across the ceiling like nets. "This place hasn't been touched in forever," he says, his voice echoing slightly. Noah kneels by the fireplace, running a finger through the ash. cold. No one's been here, that's for sure. Elise points her camera at a photo of an elderly woman with kind eyes, presumably Daniel's grandmother. "She looks so sweet," she murmurs. What happened here to make Daniel so scared? They make their way upstairs, the wooden steps creaking under their weight, each groan sounding like a warning. The second floor is a maze of small rooms, bedrooms with sagging mattresses, a bathroom with a cracked sink, a closet stuffed with moth-eaten clothes. But their goal is the attic. A narrow pull-down ladder leads up to it, the hinges rusted and squealing as Carter yanks it down. "Here we go," he says, trying to sound confident, but there's a tremor in his voice. Lydia goes first, her flashlight cutting through the darkness as she climbs. The attic is a cavern of shadows, the air heavy with dust that dances in the beams of their lights. Old furniture is piled in corners, broken chairs, a cracked dresser, a child's rocking horse that sways faintly, though there's no draft to move it. And there, against the far wall, is the mirror. It's taller than any of them, its frame carved with swirling patterns that look like vines, or maybe faces, depending on the angle. The glass is cloudy, streaked with grime, but it still reflects their faces, distorted, pale, uneasy. Lydia sets up her camera on a tripod, aiming it at the mirror. "All right, Pulse fam. This is the mirror Daniel told us about. He said it shows things that aren't there. Let's see if we can catch anything on camera." Carter pulls out the EMF reader, waving it around the mirror, but the device stays silent. "No spikes," he says, though his eyes keep darting to the glass. Noah steps closer, peering into the mirror, his reflection staring back. "Looks normal to me. Just an old mirror. Maybe Daniel's imagination got the better of him." Elise hangs back, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. "I don't like this," she whispers. "It feels wrong." Lydia ignores her, focusing on the camera. "Let's do a quick EVP session. If there's something here, maybe it'll talk to us." She pulls out a digital recorder, pressing the button to start. "Is there anyone here with us? Can you give us a sign?" The attic is silent, the only sound they're breathing and the faint hum of the recorder. They wait, the seconds stretching into eternity, until the recorder crackles. A voice, low, distorted, barely audible, comes through. "Look, closer." The group freezes, their eyes wide. Carter laughs nervously. "Okay, that was creepy. Did it just say look closer?" Lydia nods, her face pale but determined. "Let's do what it says. Look into the mirror." They gather in front of the glass, their reflections staring back, the dim light casting long shadows across their faces. At first, nothing happens. Just four nervous faces, their breath fogging the air. Then Elise gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. "There, behind us." They spin around, but the attic is empty, just the same clutter and dust. "What did you see?" Noah demands, his voice sharp. Elise points at the mirror, her hand trembling. There was a woman behind us, in the reflection. She was pale, with long black hair, and her eyes, they were empty, just black holes. Carter swings his flashlight around again, the beam shaking in his grip. "There's nothing here, Elise. You're freaking yourself out." But Lydia steps closer to the mirror, her reflection almost touching the glass. "I see it too," she whispers. "She's there, right behind me." The others crowd in, their hearts pounding, and now they all see her. A faint figure in the reflection, a woman in a tattered white dress, her skin bone white, her hair hanging in wet strands over her face, her eyes hollow sockets that seem to swallow the light. She's standing just behind them, but when they turn, there's nothing there. Noah stumbles back, his notebook falling to the floor. This isn't right. Reflections don't work like that. There's nothing behind us to reflect. Carter grabs the EMF reader again, and this time it spikes, the needle jumping wildly as a high-pitched whine fills the air. "We've got activity! Big activity!" he shouts, but his voice is drowned out by a sudden sound. A low, rhythmic tapping, like fingernails on glass, coming from the mirror. The woman in the reflection moves, her head tilting slowly, her empty eyes locking onto Lydia's reflection. Then she smiles, a wide, unnatural grin that stretches too far, revealing rows of jagged, blackened teeth. Elise screams, backing into the rocking horse, which starts to sway violently, its wooden creaks echoing through the attic. "We need to get out of here," she cries. But Lydia can't look away. "Wait." She's trying to say something, she says, her voice trembling. The woman's mouth moves in the reflection, but the sound doesn't come from the mirror. It comes from behind them, a whisper that fills the attic. "You looked too long." The lights flicker, their flashlights dimming as the temperature plummets, their breath now visible in the air. The mirror begins to hum, a low, resonant sound that vibrates in their chests, making their teeth ache. Carter grabs Lydia's arm, pulling her back. "We're done here. Let's go." But as they turn to leave, the attic door slams shut, the ladder retracting with a screech of metal. Noah pounds on the door, his fists leaving dents in the wood. But it won't budge. "It's locked. We're trapped," he yells, his voice cracking with panic. Elise drops to her knees, clutching her head. "She's in my head. I can hear her. She's saying my name." The mirror's hum grows louder, and now the woman in the reflection is closer, her skeletal hands reaching out, her fingers brushing against the inside of the glass. The tapping turns into a pounding, the mirror shaking in its frame, cracks spiderwebbing across the surface. Lydia spins around, her camera still rolling, capturing everything. "We need to break it. It's the mirror. She's coming through." Carter grabs a broken chair leg from the clutter, swinging it at the glass. But the mirror doesn't shatter. It bends, the surface rippling like water, absorbing the blow. The woman's hands push through the glass now, her fingers long and bony, her nails black and cracked, dripping with a dark, oily substance that smells of rot. Her voice fills the attic again, but this time it's their voices, layered together, distorted and wrong. "Lydia, Carter, Noah, Elise, you looked... You're mine." The woman steps out of the mirror, her form solidifying, her tattered dress dragging across the floor, leaving a trail of black sludge. Her head tilts at an impossible angle, her empty eyes locking onto each of them in turn, her grin widening until her jaw unhinges, revealing a void that seems to pull at the light around her. Elise screams again, scrambling to the corner of the attic, her camera falling and cracking against the floor. Noah grabs a rusted candlestick, swinging it at the woman, but it passes through her, her form dissolving into smoke before reforming closer to him. "You can't fight me," she hisses, her voice a mix of their own, echoing inside their skulls. Carter tries the door again, kicking it with all his strength, but it's like kicking a brick wall. Lydia, desperate, grabs the digital recorder, playing back the EVP session, hoping to find a clue. The voice comes through again, clearer this time. She sees, through you. Break the bond. Lydia's eyes widen. Break the bond. She's tied to us because we looked. We have to stop looking at her. But it's too late. The woman is fully in the attic now, her presence filling the space, the air growing so cold their fingers numb, frost creeping up the walls. The woman lunges at Noah first, her claws slashing across his arm, leaving deep, black gashes that burn like acid. He screams, dropping the candlestick, blood mixing with the black sludge on the floor. Carter grabs Elise, pulling her to her feet, and they huddle together, their backs to the wall, their eyes darting between the woman and the mirror. "Don't look at her!" Lydia shouts, but the woman's voice is in their heads now, whispering their fears, their secrets, things they've never told anyone. "I know you, Lydia. You're afraid of being forgotten. Carter, you're afraid of failing. Noah, you're afraid of the dark. Elise, you're afraid of being alone." The woman's form shifts, her face morphing into each of their faces for a moment, a cruel mockery of their reflections, before returning to her own hollow visage. Lydia grabs the camera, the only thing still working, and points it at the mirror, an idea forming in her panic. "If she came through the mirror, maybe we can send her back. We have to trap her reflection." She angles the camera, capturing the woman's image, and the creature screeches, a sound that shatters the remaining glass in the attic windows, the shards raining down like knives. The woman turns on Lydia, her claws slashing through the air, but Carter throws himself in front of her, taking the hit across his chest, his scream echoing as he falls. "Do it, Lydia!" he gasps, blood soaking his shirt. Lydia keeps the camera steady, the woman's reflection now trapped on the screen, her form flickering between the attic and the digital display. Noah, clutching his wounded arm, grabs a piece of broken glass, using it to reflect the woman's image back at the mirror. "Look at yourself," he shouts, his voice raw. The woman turns, her empty eyes meeting her own reflection, and she freezes. Her body trembling cracks, forming across her skin like porcelain. The mirror hums again, louder, the cracks in its surface glowing with a sickly green light. The woman's screech turns into a wail, her form being pulled back toward the glass, her claws scraping at the floor, leaving deep gouges in the wood. "No, you can't. I see you," she hisses. But her voice fades as she's sucked back into the mirror, the glass sealing behind her, the cracks knitting together until the surface is whole again. The attic door bursts open, the ladder crashing down, and the air warms, the frost melting into puddles on the floor. The group collapses, their breaths ragged, their bodies trembling. Carter clutches his chest, blood seeping through his fingers, but he's alive. Noah's arm is a mess, the black gashes still burning, but he's conscious. Elise sobs quietly, her hands shaking as she picks up her broken camera. Lydia stares at the mirror, her reflection normal now, but her eyes are haunted. They stumble out of the house, the dawn breaking over the horizon, the first light of morning casting long shadows across the street. The camera, still rolling, captures their final moments as they pile into the van. Their faces pale, their voices shaky. "We're never coming back here," Lydia says, her voice barely above a whisper. "If you're watching this, don't go to that house. Don't look in that mirror. Some things, they see you back." The video ends there, uploaded a week later after they'd recovered enough to edit it. The mirror still sits in the attic, untouched, waiting. Daniel never responded to their follow-up email, and the house remains empty. At least, that's what the neighbors say. But some nights, they hear tapping, like fingernails on glass, coming from the attic. So, what do you think, Pulse fam? Would you dare to look into the mirror? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more paranormal investigations. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes on the shadows. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, all the way to the end. If you enjoyed these stories, leave a like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks horror is just fiction. The scariest things happen when you think it's all over. I'll see you very soon. And don't forget, check under the bed before you sleep.